What? All of you really think smoking kills? Let me tell you something. Obesity and diabetes will take 4 times more people this year and every year than smoking ever thought about doing. And what if I brought a sweet tea in here? No one would say anything. But yet the carbohydrates and the diets and the knife and fork that we're doing is killing this nation. Who am I? Well, my daughter introduced me. I'm Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World. And I started this business in 1979, so that was 40 years ago, actually this month. And a little personal history, I was a policeman. At the same time, I started Nutrition World, Chattanooga, policeman, and loved it. But somewhere early in my life, and it was actually about 1967, I lived on Midland Pike over here up in Brainerd with my father. It was just the 2 of us. And a lady came to our house one day, and she was a Shackley salesman. Oh, yes. How many remember Shackley? Still around, but not on the forefront like they used to be. I will always remember, and I was probably I was 10 or 11 years old. And she lined up these bottles of nutrients, and she spoke about the power of food and how it can heal and keep us healthy. And keep in mind, 1967, that was not a conversation that anyone had. We thought we were like a truck. And when it broke down, you went somewhere and they fixed it and you came back and everything was fine. We didn't have any knowledge about the fact that we really are the most important partner in our journey to health and disease. And we didn't have the knowledge either, there's no doubt. I mean, all I had in my whole life was the encyclopedias that were in my one file cabinet, like most people had. Well, this sparked something in me that has maintained itself until here I am, almost 62 years old. I actually studied everything I could about nutrition from every UTC, from online to, well, what even online? There wasn't one, but any place I could go study, but there wasn't this kind of knowledge that was really easily accessible. So I learned a lot of what I know through the PhD of living. And I have watched and observed not thousands, but tens of thousands of people in their journey from health to disease and back to health, and some from health to death, but not that many. But I've seen what it takes, in my mind, to create long-term slow aging and long-term less inflammation and growing old at the way that we used to read about people grew old. They were strong and they were robust and they didn't have all these disabilities at 40 and 50 years old. And in 1967, after my Shackley experience, when all the other kids were out riding their bikes and doing things that we did back in those days that were very boring to kids today, but that was fun, and swimming or hiking or just walking, I was standing at Eckerd Drug Store at Eastgate Mall looking at every vitamin bottle at 11 years old. I would read every word. The pharmacist got sick of me asking question after question because they really didn't know either, but they knew more than I did. And so that was the start of my journey. Well, why would you want to listen to anything I said? Well, I have an analogy that I thought of yesterday. We all get in airplanes with pilots and we trust them. Why do we trust them? They have experience, and the second thing is, you know that they want to survive as bad as you do. And so you know they're not going to go and do anything foolish because they're part of this journey. Well, I'm starting to see the exit sign of my life start to illuminate a little bit brighter. When you turn 60 plus, you realize that Father Time will have its way. And you can't wait too long to address the issues of longevity and aging. So, join me on the ride in this airplane to hopefully a better place in your life and health. I'm going to ask 5 questions, and I'll wait to the end of these 5 because I know what the answer will be. Thank you. Let me pop that back on. I want to start doing this a little bit. Yeah, I started, okay. How many of us would like to slow down father time, reduce food cravings, maintain optimal brain function, and reduce odds of many diseases, but also at the same time have a better body weight and reduce your body fat? How many out here would want that? Everybody? Who wouldn't want that? That's actually the question I want to ask, is who wouldn't want it? Here is my number one point that I want to make very strongly. And I've watched people for 40 years try to lose weight, try to be healthy through changing their way of eating. Any diet that requires daily discipline has a 0 chance of making it in the long run. Why is that? It's because anything that requires everyday discipline is not going to last you more than 6 months to a year, because the nature of humans is, we have these attractions to things from elimination to sex to sleep to food, and you're not going to significantly alter that if you just use discipline. You have to create a plan that actually makes you want to do it and makes it easy to do it. That doesn't mean there's not choices to be made. It doesn't mean you don't have to learn things. Yes, you do. But I call this a keto lifestyle, is what we're going to teach you tonight. Not a keto diet in my mind. It's a keto lifestyle. The bottom line of what is keto. Keto diets are trying to teach your body to burn fat for fuel, in addition to be able to be good at burning carbohydrates. All of you are great at burning carbohydrates already. You're a very efficient machine to do that. But what very few of you are is called fat adapted. And what fat adapted means is that there's some mechanisms in the body that if you access it and turn the switches on, you can make fat be your gasoline for your car, basically. And when I started doing this intuitively long ago, and in fact, Katie on the last keto lecture spoke about the fact that when she was 4 and 5 and 10 years old, she remembered very well her mother carrying sticks of butter, because I put them in her pocketbook, because we had to eat fat with every meal. And so we would carry butter with us constantly. Of course, the small dog would occasionally get into her pocketbook and then eat all this butter, and there'd be a huge mess. But we want to teach you how to make your body burn fat for fuel. Now, why is that important? Now, a lot of people have a little different attraction to keto than I do. I have an attraction to keto because I believe it to be the ultimate anti-aging diet. If I didn't lose any weight on it or body fat, I would be still very happy with it, because the studies that I've done, everything we talk about, how the body declines, is really, when you boil it down, comes to one thing. And I won't expect people to understand it fully, but the mitochondria of each cell is what is the fuel, the motor that runs every part of your energy system. And it can run on different fuels. It's kind of like a hybrid car. If you bought a new Toyota that was a hybrid, we know that it runs on gas and electricity. Well, we want to teach you tonight how to run on both fuels, because burning carbohydrates only is a dirty fuel. It's diesel. It truly is. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad guys. They're not. But we have to know the perspective of how to categorize fats and carbohydrates. And the secret to me, and many people who I respect, of maintaining a healthy life free of disease is not damaging your mitochondria. That comes from taking or consuming enough antioxidants. It comes from also picking the right kind of diet. Because the nation that we live in today is carbohydrate addicted as bad as any substance in this world. And you know you're addicted to it when you cannot go more than 4 to 5 hours without pasta, potatoes, rice, sweet tea, all the things that encompass fast-acting carbs. It doesn't really include broccoli and cauliflower and the things that we're going to talk about tonight that you would want to eat. So there are carbs that are not going to damage mitochondria. I love this. In fact, I just learned of this last week. The World Health Organization has now finally coded aging as a disease. Father Time is ruthless to us. Do you know that the only reason that the whole blueprint of genetics and why we are programmed the way we are is to procreate? Nature did not put into any of us with a purpose of living a long time. We are able to be discarded at a certain point, and that is usually about 50 to 60 years old. Nature's kind of used us up. So we have to access new and more aggressive methods to not allow the ravages of aging to take us down. Now, because it's coded as a disease, we're not going to all accept it that it's just the inevitable. And in the medical world, they're actually going to start looking at better things to help slow aging. The mitochondria of a 90-year-old, 95% of their power generators are damaged. If that man right there had half of his mitochondria working, he would look like a 50-year-old. That's why he's old. That's why he's weak. That's why he's decrepit. So the key to all of this, how do we maintain healthy mitochondrial function? And I believe a keto lifestyle, as far as the knife and fork in choosing food, is the best answer for me. And I will say, I don't know everything. No, I could, in 5 years, I might have some slight changes on this, but I believe this will be the core. And I'm always happy about people who have different opinions. I'm not going to sit here and say you couldn't live to be 90 healthy eating the wrong or the diet that I don't recommend. So I don't have all the answers. I want to say that. Now, how does keto change my life? I can tell you I've always tended to a keto lifestyle, but somewhere probably 3 years ago, I really stepped it up. And part of it is, of course, the fact that there's more growing research. 1920, Johns Hopkins University started publicizing studies on the keto diet. 1920. That is because seizures were reduced significantly. It was the only treatment for seizures that was known to be effective. So we have vast amount of research. I've improved my sleep with it. My sleep's not perfect, but it's far better than it used to be. I definitely extract more energy from less food. My body fat is lower than it has been probably most of my life, but I didn't sacrifice any of my muscle strength in the gym. My mental energy generally is very focused. I'm not perfect. There are moments, of course, that we go up and down, but I'm vastly better than I used to be. But probably the best thing that I can observe is I don't run around handcuffed to carbohydrates any longer. Not that I've got to have a baked potato. I have to have some rice. I have to have something to fill me because I'm shaking or I'm feeling weak, and and those things pick you up. But it's a vicious cycle of picking you up. So I don't really crave carbohydrates anymore. These are 3 men that are over 60 who have used the keto lifestyle. Me, Mark Sissis, and Dr. McCullough. We all 3 find that we're in better shape now at 60 plus than we were at 50 and 40 and 30 if you look at shape, strength, body fat, endurance, all the things that comprise that. I took that last week of me in the gym. This was something that I came across only 2 days ago. There is a well-known celebrity who I'm going to show their photo next. He's 88 years old. He has absolutely the most brain function and creativity. He still works and produces magic in the movie industry. This is what he said. He stayed away from carbohydrates. He ate protein. He kept a scale in his bathroom. He got proper rest. He was optimistic. He ate fruits and raw vegetables. He took vitamins, skipped all beverages loaded with sugar, and avoided excessive alcohol. He said plainly, this should be a lifetime habit, best begun when you are young. Guess who this was? Clint Eastwood. I saw him in The Mule 3 days ago. 88 years old. Hell yeah, he does look, he looks his age. But dang, who could produce the stuff he does at 88? This is something that is analogous to your cell phone. And I believe this. Almost all of us are born with factory settings to burn body fat and maintain health. I mean, I could ask this question and I don't even need to know the answer. How many of you could lose weight just like that at 20 years old? All you had to do is skip a few meals or do a little exercise. If you gained a few pounds, it was all gone. And at 30, it started slowing. At 40, it really slowed. Well, guess what? At some point, we must do a hard reset. That reset, to me, cannot be done unless it's a keto reset. Now, keto diets have a varied amount of approaches to it. There is not one single way to do it. I'm not a person who does the absolute strict keto diet. Adam sometimes can be more strict than I. Because you can get where you're feeling poor, you can get keto flu. That's why we're here, to help educate you to make the best decision for your life. I had a lady 2 months ago. I had not ever seen her before, but she somehow felt led to come to Nutrition World talk to me because I guess our reputation. She tried the keto herself. She went on a strict keto diet of less than 12 carbs. Within 4 days, she was in a psychiatric hospital. It truly spiraled her into the worst place that she'd ever been in her life. That's very uncommon. But when you go from a carbohydrate-laden diet and you try to switch the fuel source and you're not quite prepared for that, it can be devastating. Know what you're doing and be gentle with yourself. When I talk about my own foods, and I want to speak just a little bit about the fact this isn't that difficult once you get the pieces of the puzzle together. It's like anything you do. If you try to accommodate a new hobby or learning a language or even riding a bicycle, flying a plane, you're going to have to put some work into it to know up here how to make the right decisions. I eat out probably more than anyone in this audience. And I have made keto work for me. In fact, Adam and I tested our blood levels today, and I was 0.04, he was 0.05. And the reason I can do that is because I just know how to make the choices. There's a sheet of paper that we gave you called the Bulletproof Diet. If you will eat off the green part of that at the top, and I know it's small print, but that piece of paper right there, if you did nothing else and you took nothing away from this lecture except that, you will be in a keto lifestyle. That means the kind of fruit you eat will not be the kind that you probably have been eating. It needs to be berries only. The sweeteners are on there, the meats are on there, the type of carbs are on there. If you just lived off that list, you're going to be doing very, very well. But of course, there's more you can fine-tune with it. But this is what I do. When I go out to eat every day, my number one rule, which is not really a printed rule, and most people don't talk about it, I carry fat with me every time I eat. I mean, like Katie spoke about, we did this when she was 10 years old or 8. I'm carrying ghee with me, which is a type of clarified butter that the Indians have used. And I carry MCT oil. We sell these packets upstairs because you can't carry large bottles with you. I never eat a meal without fat. Number one rule, but it has to be healthy fat. So you have to be somewhat prepared with a toolkit for this to work, but it's not that difficult. Secondly, my key may not be Adam's and it's not other people's. I live a very, very busy life. I don't want or have time to fix breakfasts because to me the breakfast is the part where we all fall down easily. Because what are breakfast foods? Oh, even if you eat nutritious breakfast foods, a whole wheat bagel? No. Do you want to have a biscuit? No. Do you want to have just eggs? No. I mean, it's hard to plan it. You can make it work because he does it all the time, but I don't. I do a drink. And if you go to nutritionw.com and you type in Ed's Super Drink or Ed's Breakfast Drink, you will see the drink that I do every single morning for 4 straight years. And what it is, it's a packaged deal where I have to use different products. It doesn't come together. You have to have the right protein. I use MCT oil, which Adam will talk about, which burns body fat, and fuels your brain because it's going to make what we call ketones, which are very efficient fuels. I also use a greens powder because I'm totally convinced that we need phytochemicals from vegetables to prevent disease. And I use chia and flax seeds. That's in my drink every single day for the past 4 years. My number 2 absolute rule is if you start your day incorrectly, you're doomed because you can't fix the chemistry that's already been screwed. You start your day with a proper breakfast, you then present the healthy chemistry that actually gives you some flexibility for making a little bit more errors as the day goes on. You can't fix the day if you screwed it to begin with. So if you want to make life easy, we can help you very much. There's actually Garden of Life just came out with a keto drink that finally has everything almost together, which we have in the back there you can look at. We have a few for sale if you want. But has grass-fed butter as the first ingredient and whey protein second. So again, protein and fat. Just a point here, this is not the old Atkins diet. You cannot go to Cracker Barrel and eat bacon and eggs and walk away feeling that you are going to be on a healthy keto diet. Now, occasionally you can slide by with that, but there's no super healthy fat in that. We would want to balance that with something like avocados or something else. And Adam's going to talk more about that. Now, this is a meal that I ate at Jason's Deli. I go there 3 times a week. It's a great place for me because, one, they have good quality olive oil. Very few places do. Most olive oils are cut with canola, and it's not healthy. You have to be a connoisseur of your ingredients, so don't trust places or restaurants. This was at Farm to Fork down in Ringgold. They actually have wild-caught salmon, cabbage, and coleslaw. That's what I had with unsweet tea. It's what I drink every time. Other places I eat, because I've got to wind my part of this down, I eat at Mongolian in Brainerd Village almost twice a week because you can pick the foods you want and you can make it delicious and you can make it keto and it's wonderful. Carrabba's, I eat there if you choose the right things. We eat at Bad Daddy's because they have grass-fed meat. I'm into totally clean foods as best I can get them. And eat at, actually, believe it or not, at Ruth Chris, you can go into the bar and for $11, you can have a burger with a vegetable like broccoli or spinach if you sit in the bar. Just a little tip that I learned a long time ago. You know that the number one most, if you put in Google, most search word under diet is keto. So we are in a nation that is very excited about this keto whole conversation. This is Adam's diet. This is what he had a picture of right here, the eggs and the avocado. So to kind of summarize, I am, number one, excited for my own life that keto, I do believe, is slowing my inflammation, my aging, my aches and pains, keeping my brain functioning better, keeping my hormones at a better optimal level. Because, and this is not the lecture for this, but chronic inflammation is at the root of all accelerated aging. What causes it? Too many carbohydrates, not enough omega-3s, too much stress in your life, not sleeping, over-exercising. Many of these things are creating chronic inflammation. And one analogy I use is I have these fairly large calluses because I work out 6 days a week and I do a lot of chin-ups. The calluses are large because the body has some intuitive wisdom to make sure it's patching whatever seems to be damaged. Well, guess what? There's no disease associated with my calluses, but this is plaque in your arteries. This is beta amyloid in your brain. This is arthritis between your joints. Anything that has chronically inflamed, the body's going to pull together stuff to patch it. Cholesterol, calcium, some other things, and it's going to try to fix it because it's not worried about you living to be 90. It wants you to live the next 6 months. So it's going to patch without too much concern for a decade. Well, what you want to do is lower inflammation. To me, the keto diet, properly done, is one of the best methods to lower this chronic inflammation. Now, before Adam comes up here, I'm going to have Katie come back. Where's Katie? Okay, Katie back there? Okay. What we want to do then is, before I have Adam come up here, I found a poem the other day that was just perfect for what my belief system is as far as my role I have taken on as an educator. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Yes, I love all the things I do in my life and all the business parts and all this, but truly, my breath is given to me to help educate other people so their life can be improved, because I live outside the box, as you obviously can tell. Mainstream thinking is always way behind, and sometimes they'll never be flexible enough in order to kind of address this. But this poem hit it perfectly. I don't divide the world into the weak or the strong, or the successes or the failures. Those who make it or those who don't, I divide the world into learners and non-learners. The people who are willing to learn are going to make it, and those who are not willing to learn in this complex world are going to suffer far more. Adam?